I moved into the old Victorian house, I thought I had stumbled upon the perfect home. The tall, arched windows, the intricate woodwork, and the spacious rooms seemed like something out of a dream. The price was unbelievably low, which should have been a red flag, but I was too excited to question it. The landlord, a quiet man in his late 50s, handed me the keys and walked me through the house. He was polite but seemed eager to leave. As we reached the second floor, he stopped in front of a door at the end of the hallway. "This one stays locked," he said, his voice low. His eyes darted nervously, avoiding mine. "What's in there?" I asked. "Just storage," he replied quickly. "But I wouldn't go in if I were you. Some things are better left alone." I chuckled, thinking it was just a way to keep tenants out of his personal belongings. "Sure," I said, brushing off his warning. For the first few weeks, the house felt like any other. It creaked and groaned, especially at night, but that was to be expected from a structure over a century old. I spent my days unpacking, decorating, and exploring every nook and cranny, except for the locked room. But no matter how much I tried to ignore it, that door haunted me. It wasn't just the fact that it was locked. It was the feeling I got whenever I walked past it. The air around it was colder, and there was a faint metallic scent that seemed stronger near the door. At first, I chalked it up to my imagination, but then the noises started. Late one night, as I was lying in bed, I heard a faint tapping sound. It was rhythmic, like nails on wood, and it seemed to be coming from the second floor. I froze, straining to hear. After a few minutes, the tapping stopped, replaced by a soft scratching. I tried to ignore it, convincing myself it was just an animal or the wind. But the next night, the sounds returned. Only this time, they were accompanied by faint whispers. They were too muffled to understand, but they were unmistakably human. The whispers continued for several nights, growing louder each time. Sleep became impossible, and the once charming house began to feel oppressive. I decided to confront the landlord. "What's in that room?" I demanded over the phone. There was a long pause before he replied. "Listen," he said, his voice heavy. "Just leave it alone, I'm serious. That room, it's not safe." His words only fueled my curiosity. That evening, armed with a flashlight and a determination born out of sleepless frustration, I decided to open the door. Picking the lock was easier than I expected. It was old and rusted, barely holding together. The door creaked open, revealing a room shrouded in darkness. The first thing that hit me was the smell, a rancid metallic odor that made my stomach churn. I covered my nose and stepped inside, shining my flashlight around. The room was empty except for a single chair in the center. On the chair sat a mirror, its ornate gold frame tarnished with age. It was the only object in the room, and yet it commanded my attention. I approached cautiously, my own reflection staring back at me. But as I got closer, I noticed something strange. My reflection wasn't moving. It stood still, unblinking while I leaned forward. And then it smiled. My breath caught in my throat. The smile didn't belong to me. It was too wide, too unnatural. I stumbled back, nearly dropping the flashlight. "Why did you open the door?" my reflection asked, its voice low and distorted. Before I could react, the room began to change. The walls pulsed as if they were alive, and shadows crept out from the corners, stretching toward me like dark tendrils. The whispers returned, louder and more insistent, a cacophony of voices that seemed to come from the very walls. I turned to run, but the door slammed shut behind me. The shadows closed in, and the last thing I saw was my reflection stepping out of the mirror, its twisted grin the only thing visible in the suffocating darkness. When I woke up, I was lying on the floor of my bedroom. Morning sunlight streamed through the windows, and for a moment I thought it had all been a nightmare. But when I went to check the second floor, the door to the room was wide open. The chair and mirror were gone. Since that night, I haven't been able to shake the feeling that something followed me out of that room. Every time I pass a mirror, I catch glimpses of movement, shadows that shouldn't be there. reflections that linger a moment too long. And sometimes when I'm alone, I hear it. Why did you open the door?